Stellar Blade's skin suit might be the greatest difficulty mode ever implemented into a video game, rewarding the player visually while punishing them mechanically. I've never understood people who play games on the hardest difficulty every time. Why would you want to spend longer and have a more frustrating time with a game unless you've already played it multiple times and want to figure out how to master it? Having your first playthrough be the most grueling never clicked with me. It's not like you gain anything from doing so other than bragging rights, and lots of people can just lie about the difficulty that they beat games on because no one's actually going to check. I've always liked it when games reward you for playing on higher difficulties. Diablo is probably the most effective at this. Hiding entire systems and challenges behind higher world tiers makes me want to get good enough at the game to see its most devastating challenges. But Stellar Blade has a far more, well, not exactly elegant, but direct solution. It preys on the basest desires of its players, and it makes its hardest difficulty the biggest reward you could possibly get. While I still don't understand the artistic or thematic reason why Eve is so hyper-sexy, I absolutely love how Shift Up played into its protagonist by incorporating such a brilliant give-and-take reward. By removing Eve's clothes, you also remove her shields, making enemies hit harder because she has no armor stats to protect herself and mitigate damage. Baldur's Gate 3 also tried this tactic by allowing all characters to go fully nude. However, they also let you retain your armor stats, so it's super easy to do a fully naked run without making the game any harder. But something about that just doesn't sit right with me. If I'm going to purposefully be a pervert and make all these characters go nude, then the game should punish me in some way, shouldn't it? I don't mean to sound like I enjoy punishment or anything, but then again, I've never had a girlfriend, so who knows what the hell I'd be into. But it doesn't make sense that I could deliberately ruin the game for myself and just get away with it. Because, like it or not, by making Eve naked, you are ruining the game for yourself. There is no way you are going to be able to take anything that's happening seriously when your character is walking around with her nipples sanded off. So taking away damage reduction by playing into the perverse curiosity of the players is actually a brilliant move, especially when combined with this unrealistic body type you've given your protagonist. It's an incredible idea that feels far more rewarding than giving the player exclusive upgrades or any other benefits to playing on a higher difficulty. In fact, I think they should have leaned into this more. At the start of the game, there are two difficulty options, story and normal. I'm assuming hard mode is unlocked once you beat the game, but I've already given up as 3 frustrating boss fights in a row just isn't going to happen for me. But what if there was a hard mode unlocked right from the start with the same damage as normal mode, but Eve wasn't allowed to equip bodysuits? You could even still call it hard mode. Obviously that wouldn't be a good idea for the first playthrough for reasons mentioned earlier, but it's not like the game's story is all that interesting, even when Eve keeps her clothes on. The game is in dire need of more glorious stupidity to match Eve's bombastic character design, so I see this as an absolute win. Although I'm not sure what this says about Eve as a character in the mind of the developers. It's one thing to dress her up all sexy, but openly naked does feel a little disrespectful, and while I personally don't care about her story, there are evidently a lot of people online who do. At least I hope they care about her story, or this craziness will have made me lose just a little bit more of my faith in humanity. See, with Baldur's Gate, all those characters were so phenomenally written and performed that I felt too guilty to have them naked unless I earned it through romance. My lack of connection to Eve gives me no qualms about undressing her, but it still feels a little weird with this option being so easy to unlock. So I think making the skin suit its own separate difficulty mode would have been better. Since you've made it to the end of the video, I'd like to ask you to not be weird about this game and exclusively praise it for having a sexy lead character. Praising Stellar Blade for that just diminishes what is actually a great game by perverting it into some kind of stand against wokeness that just ruins the game for everyone else. It's fine if you love Eve as a character, but love her for who she is, not how she looks, like you would with any character or real-life person. But she's not some symbol against wokeness because the game doesn't even discuss sexuality, so there isn't any political message behind her appearance. Stellar Blade is a great action game with a protagonist who's a bit too dull to deserve such a strange outfit, but by easily pretending she doesn't have a personality, the game is actually more enjoyable when you think of it as a sex doll Souls-like, rather than the strange revenge narrative the game is actually going for. I'll be back in 2 days, but in the meantime, here's a video about how Eve doesn't earn her character design.